All right, guys, welcome to a very special episode. I'm doing these series of interviews with members that have had success with myself and my team in the SPF Mastermind. And what we're doing is we're doing this twofold. Obviously, this interview will be as a podcast, but it will also be going into a new book we're creating. And that new book is called our SPF Member Success Guide, where it tells the stories of gyms that have gone from struggling from single digit revenue to big money. And so I've been taking the time to sit down with a bunch of different gym owners over the last several months and to pull out these very inspiring stories. And I have a very guy that's special to me today. His name is, I just figured out what his last name was after about 11 years of knowing him. This is Marty Musicant, and your wife Kim did a wonderful job of teaching me how to say it. I just think of musicant, and then I put an ant next to it. Marty, thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Of course, my pleasure.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is I want to start at the very beginning and tell us when you joined SPF back in, I believe, 2018. I want you to tell me where you were in your business, where you were personally, what life was like. Take us back to that kind of moment, your pre-SPF mastermind life.
We joined the SPF in November of 2018. Yeah, we had been open for 2 years. We had about 75 members, and I would work like our trainer. He saw us more like him. And the first couple of years of our business as we had a fire in 2015, we were only open 3.5 months. We didn't reopen in our current location until September of 2016. We got the struggle the first couple of years of that business.
Marty and Kim run the business together, their husband and wife team, who joined the gym not that long ago, about a year ago, and has done a great job with it. All right. So, Marty, go ahead and continue with your story.
So, 2016, we reopened in our current location. And it was a struggle for the first couple of years, mainly because we didn't know where to go. And by the time we joined the mastermind in 2018, we're only at 75 members. And we were struggling to get above $18,000 a month. And we did have one part-time trainer, but it was mostly me and care doing the training. We had one part-timer. And then I was getting up at 6 a.m. every morning, actually opening the gym at 6 a.m., so I was getting up more at 4:30. 5 days a week, and then came in to open at 7 on Saturdays. I was doing most of the training, coming back at night, split shifts. It just left me very little time to work on the business. I was so involved in the business. Despite that, we kept growing, albeit slowly. And by the time October of 2018 rolled around, I don't remember how I found out about you. I don't know if I saw you on Facebook or whatever, but somehow I ended up on your email list. And he decided to do your 2-day membership up at GFP.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
And that's when I decided to join the mastermind. Of course, I needed that Kim meet with you first to make sure that you were on the up and that's
Yeah, I want to tell that story. But before we do that, tell me, when you saw the event, what was the pain that you were experiencing that made you be like, I got to do this event, I need help? What were the things? Were you feeling burnout? Were you feeling stressed financially? What was the challenges that made you be like, I got to call this guy and this event looks good. Let me try this out. What was?
I think all of the above. I mean, Kim and I have been in another mastermind prior to meeting here.
Okay.
The mastermind was a really good one, but we still struggled. And it had nothing to do with the people that ran the mastermind. It was really us to where we were at in our evolution. And you always spoke about the psychology of the business owner. And back in those days, our psychology wasn't the greatest. We had a fire in 2015. And then in 2017, things were so bad that we were still paying off a loan from one of our members. We were still paying our original equipment lease for about $1,000 a month. And I had to take out a personal loan with a company called Average to keep things going. Late in 2017, we ended up having to sell our house because we were paying our bills in the business. We were having a hard time paying our personal bills. So we ended up selling our house that we rented for the next few years. And that really helped a lot. So that was like a true decision we made prior to meeting her. And it paid off as things started getting better in 2018. But by the time October rolled around, we realized that we wanted a lot more. And we just weren't getting it. We wanted more freedom. We wanted more money. And we decided that we were going to reach out for help. And that's when I found out about your mentorship. I decided to grow.
And so you joined the mastermind, but it was contingent upon something. It was contingent upon Kim meeting me, which was a first for me. And this was funny because this is back when I had just started this mastermind. So I had never run a mastermind before. And most of the guys that were coming in, they were like younger gym owners that were coming in. And here comes Marty. And then he brings his wife, Kim, into the office at my gym with me. And she's, before he signs up for this mastermind, I want to make sure that you're not some crazy charlatan. And so we had a really fun conversation, you, me, and Kim. And I don't know what was said in that meeting to make Kim give you the green light to join the mastermind, but maybe, I don't know.
I think it was just the report and spring recovery that was established pretty quickly.
Yes, she is a big ball of fun. I really enjoy her. Awesome. Okay, so that is the time you started to join and obviously came into our world. When were the things, what were the things that you started to do? This is a really helpful thing for some other people that heard some of the other interviews. What were some of the things that you started to do to give you the sign and the feeling that, all right, things are starting to get a little better?
It was really learning to become a better marketer.
Okay.
And some of the tools that you had given us right from the start with the concept of the marketing glove to make sure that you're everywhere, basically, 5 or more fingers on that glove. And also the idea of a marketing calendar, planning out your marketing, because prior to that, we were scattered all over the place. And despite the fact that we were in another mastermind, we had learned some of the stuff for whatever reason where we were at mentally, it just didn't sink in at the time. So I think the way you presented it just really simplified it and really helped a lot.
Okay. And then, so you got your head around the marketing stuff. And again, for those listening, the marketing glove is basically this symbolic thing that I invented to have multiple ways that you're going to get new customers. A lot of people were relying on just one way to get new customers. And really what you need to de-risk your business is to have multiple ways to generate new business. So what were some of those things that you did? What were some of the fingers on your glove? What were some of the things that went into your calendar that got you to start having some success?
As far as the glove goes up, we did quite a few things in the glove, but we weren't doing any of them well. So what we did, we stepped up our email game.
Okay.
Just how we emailed our list. We started growing our list with lead magnets and street fairs and other events. We started doing daily organic postings on Facebook.
Okay.
But prior to that, it was very sporadic. The images that we were using were much better, and the copy that we would put in there, as well as these organic posts always have a call to action, and they always have our web address on to draw people to our website.
So I'm hearing two things that you did well. One is consistency, right? I think a lot of people don't do consistency really well. Right? They do what I call squirrel marketing, where they do one thing here and then they try things over there. And it sounds like you were consistent with email, you were consistent with social posting. And then the second piece I heard is that you applied the principles that I learned. I didn't make this up. You applied the principles that I learned from the great Dan Kennedy of what's called direct response marketing, right? Where you always put something out there with an intent to get a response. And I think that's like a big piece of where people screw up marketing is they do branding, right? They just throw stuff against the wall. They put their logo out and they spread the logo out. And instead of that, you go with the intent to generate a lead. And then there's a system behind that we can get into. But at the end of the day, it sounds like you did consistency and direct response. What else? What were the other things that happened?
So the email, it was organic Facebook posting. We started with Facebook ads around that time.
Okay.
That might have been prior. It was probably prior to KISS. But we were using somebody else that you have recommended. That went very well for a while. We had some decent success with some local street fairs.
Okay.
And our website was upgraded. Just marketing took over our website and they upgraded our marketing. And that kind of ties in what we learned more about SEO, search engine optimization, and try to rank higher on Google. So I think all those things came together to help us get more and better ratings.
Were there something different about your website that typically I see this a lot where people, they have a website and they never look at their website as a client generating tool, that it's like just something they have that exists. But since we started building websites for people, the website has become what I call like a client producing asset, meaning you can depend on your website to generate leads that deliver good quality clients that are interested in personal training. What were some of the changes that they made for your website that made it all of a sudden start to work? Like I imagine you went from getting 0 clients from your website to getting clients from your website.
When we first opened, we hired a local web designer, someone from town, really nice guy, and he did our website for a couple of years. He did not specialize in the fitness business. He was a general website designer. And when we hooked up with KISS, the website was more geared towards fitness. So they knew how to do it. He fitter than this guy. And I think we learned how better to tell stories because we gave them a lot of the content for our website. So we had more stories on there. We had more testimonials on there, social proof, obviously, and a way to contact us. I think we had a lead magnet on there. We could capture their email address. And we also had another form on there where they could contact us directly to get more information on the setup of the consultation. But the combination of all that stuff made it take off. And plus, like I said, it was learning how to get people to our website through search engine was a big boost to us.
Awesome. So we've gotten into the marketing, and then what we're working through right now is the starting point of Marty being an $18,000 a month business that is fully dependent on him, that's fully dependent on him doing everything and doing the majority of the sessions with a part-time trainer till fast forward to today, where we'll tell you where he's at in a second, which is super impressive. But Marty, tell us now the second level of starting to build a team, right? You went from one part-time trainer with you doing everything to now you have a full team. Tell us about that process of you going from almost no employees to having a full team that what you've got now.
I think the turning point for us, the breakthrough moment, if you will, was when we hired our first full-time coach. It was 2021. And he's still with us, by the way. And right about the same time, we hired our first part-time admiral. I think those two things really help us to work more on the business. He went to another level of working on the business. It was no longer opening up at 6 a.m. I had someone else to do that. And so that really fueled our growth. And by December of 2022, we had grown 41% year over year. We were there averaging $35,000 a month with 110 members.
So you're starting to see, if those listening to this, you're starting to see a progression. Like the first progression was just marketing skills, was learning how to acquire new customers and learning how to make some money. And then the second progression is people. If you don't have any money at $18,000 a month, you guys weren't making enough money to be able to afford to hire a full-time trainer, right? And so we ring the register first. We teach marketing, we ring the register first. Then all of a sudden we start to build a form of stability and a freedom of some money to be able to hire these people. And then there's all new challenges, right? Learning how to lead those people. What were some of the maybe challenges you faced with leadership and having a team and payroll and all that stuff?
Yeah, I'll address payroll first. So the first payroll was a little out of whack. So it was an investment, like during the onboarding of the trainers. And it's not just with one full-time trainer, but we had 6 and every 4 of the part-timers. So the onboarding is very time-consuming, but well worth it. So I had to learn to get better at that. Just reading on my amount of years experience of being a coach myself, I didn't always have to teach it to somebody. It was all in my brain. So I had to get it out of my brain into documentation. And it was the first time I had to do that. Basically, it was just watch what I do and copy what I do. It actually did it in the top.
Yeah, my favorite form of teaching delegation. My favorite form of teaching delegation is you do, they, what is it? You do, you probably know this better than I do.
Yes.
You do, they watch, they do, you watch, and then they do, right?
Yes.
That's the form. I learned that many years ago. It's a real simplified way to teach delegation. So the next phase was building a team and getting some full-time team members, not just from trainers, but some admin help. And that continued to grow the business, and you continued to work on the marketing. Now, I would imagine when you first hired those few people, you were still doing a lot of sessions, right?
Definitely was, a lot of sessions. I was doing most of the one-on-one sessions, but we did percentage on small groups. Because we were growing, so we started off with a 4-to-1 ratio. When eventually we grew to 6-to-1 a month. As we kept growing, we decided that we had space to take more people, but we need another coach in the group. So any group over 6, we would start to have 2 people. So for a while, I wasn't coaching that much, but then I got pulled back in as the group got bigger until I started hiring some other part-timers for something like that. I just now, our match in the group, there's 10, 11 people. One that was full of a lot of groups, so that was quite the evolution. We have, besides me and Kim, we have 6 employees. Helping us.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And so basically it's you find the skills to get new customers, you hire the squad, but you're still doing a lot of the work in the very beginning when you hire those first few people. And now you're at a point where you have 6 team members and you're not doing nearly as many training sessions. You're in that classic stage 3 where you got a squad, you got a team, your business isn't dependent on you doing all the sessions, and you are able to spend time working on the business, doing the marketing, doing the sales, growing and leading the team. And so you've evolved, and now you're starting to do cool stuff. It just had a big price increase, right? You started to think strategically. So why don't you tell us about that?
We are talking about prices for the original manage, if you will. There's about 40 people. We had kept those prices low to the lowest time when we walked to raise prices online. Well, they were part of the price increase that we had back in April. And to my surprise, only 3 people left because of it. We did raise prices on all of the other members at the time. I think we probably had about 150 members total. Or we had what amounted to a 10% increase across the board. We added $3,000 so I'm not EFT. we were nervous about doing it. And we had a lean on you and some other members as a mastermind to get the courage to do it. We realized that in retrospect, that it was way much worry about nothing because it was the right decision. And now we're up to 170 mileage. Anyone who's unsure about raising their quality, my advice, don't wait, do it as soon as you think you're sure, and don't look back.
Yeah, you handled it masterfully, and there's been a few people that have been hesitant to do it after I've been coaching with them, and I just call Marty, and you just tell the story about what you did. But it was, and we talk about this in increasing profit. It's the fastest way to do it. And the reality is that every business is doing it. Every business is raising prices, and I don't see why a gym is different than any other business. We still have things we need to invest in. We have staff members that need, and here's the thing too, like staff members that have been with us a long time, they need more. You know, that when we hired someone at 23 years old and now they're 30 years old, their lives are different. And if we want to keep those people around, they need to be paid and they need benefits and they need all these different things. And the clients have an invested interest in that. And again, they don't want to pay more, but I think in most cases people understand. And people get it. All right. So let's talk about today. I think we've led people through the stages, right? You're almost like a classic stage 1 going to stage 3 gym, right? Struggling at 18K, doing everything yourself, hiring a couple team members, still doing almost everything yourself. And now you have a team of 6. Your business is running independently of you doing the sessions. Tell us where the business is today. And I can verify all of this because you are now a member of the CEO Mastermind that comes to my domain quarterly with your profit and loss statement in hand. I've seen your revenue. I've seen your margins. I know how well things are going, but I want to hear it from you. Give us the data and the numbers of where the business is now.
We're sitting at about 170 members. 5% of that business is from one-on-one training. The rest is small group, staff of 6. We hit our highest revenue month in September at 60,000. We're probably going to get pretty close to 700,000 for the year on December 31st. Things are going well. We're going to grow about 21% this year, and we're hoping that it continues next year. We've decided to stay where we are and maximize our space rather than look at other locations. I think there's room for growth at this location. Personally, it's allowed us a lot more financial freedom and success. And Chip and I are taking our first trip to New York together next week. We have not been together. We hardly went anywhere during the first few years of our business, and now we're international travelers. We bought our house. We became homeowners again 3 years ago after having sold our house in 2017. So business has grown and it's going to get even better. We have bigger things planned for ourselves.
That's amazing. I want to dig into a little bit more. So obviously the business started below 20,000. It's doing 60,000 you didn't mention the margins. You don't have to, but it's a very solid financial sound business. There's a lot of business that's doing $60,000 a month and they got $58,000 of expenses. Like that is not you. You have a very healthy business from a profit standpoint. So from a financial standpoint, I know things are going. You obviously had the funds to buy a home and travel to Europe and things like that. What about you, Marty, as a person? Right? You mentioned your shifts and changes from a mindset perspective. There's a couple stories that, really hold true for me that I can get into, but I think from your perspective, but what are the things that you've been impacted by from this education that you've been on with us for the last several years? How's it impacted you from a personal level?
I think certainly come a long way as a novice business owner to where I am now. One of the things that has helped is, or the lessons that we learned in the SPF mastermind with that mindset and the psychology of reowners. So it's not just about the X's and the O's of marketing, sales, and tactic and things like that. So just learn to be that person, learn to think better, learn to live more through gratitude. And trust me, I struggle with this every day. It's not like I'm perfect, but I'm definitely so much better at handling the day-to-day stress of running your business. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I think Kim could vouch for the fact that I'm not as negative as I used to be, and I'm much happier than I was, and I'm a better leader than I used to be. And all of those things just make for a better life, because coming home and being stressed and being miserable and just having all the negative feelings associated with a struggle in business, that's all behind me now. And, although we're doing better, as there's the bigger the business, the bigger the problems. But I've learned to handle those problems much better. And I try not to let things get out of whack, and I try to stay as grounded as possible and try to avoid those highs and lows that you see a lot when you don't have the experience and you don't have the guidance from people like you or the people on your team and the other people in the mastermind and the other guys and gals in the CEO. All of those people, like in my life, just has made me a better person. And as my relationship grows with the SPF people, my relationship gets better with my team, and my relationship gets better with my partner and my wife, Kim. So I just think there's way too many lessons for me to mention that I've learned in the SPF, and the personal development side of being a business owner can't be discounted. In fact, it's essential. If you're a coach and you're still digging into all the X's and O's of training, the sets and the reps and all that stuff, that's all well and good. But until you really dig deep into your own psychology, that's what really is going to have your visit table. And that's what did it for us. And when I say these things, I'm not just talking about the impact it's had on me, but I could see the changes and the impact that it's had on Kim as well. All those lessons have really helped the two of us to become better business owners and better people.
Yeah, one of the things that comes to mind when I think of you is more of an abundance mindset. You mentioned this, and I didn't think you were a negative person when I first met you, but you were not nearly as upbeat and optimistic and positive, and not in a blind type of way. You definitely tread carefully, like you should, right? As I do. But there's one story that I look at it almost like as the crossroads of your success. And that story was, there was a guy that was local to you that had a gym that was nearby. And there was, I'm guessing, some, like we do, we don't want competitors and stuff like that. And it was during COVID where you came to me. You had come to me before and basically said, I don't want that guy in the mastermind. He's too close. And then you came to me in COVID and you said, hey, I want you to work with that guy and let him into the mastermind. And since that moment, that was like a moment for me that showed me that you had a massive abundance mindset over a scarcity mindset. And so it was a big growth moment. And the cool thing is, like, I think from that moment, that's like when your business started to explode. It was like right when you started really hitting some bigger numbers is right when you made that call. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, for once they're competing to get in on something great that I already found for us. And after a while, I just felt really bad about it. And I actually reached out to him and we went out to lunch. And we were talking and got to know each other. And that just made my mind up. Who am I to stand in someone else's way when they're a guy just like me with a family and just trying to get better? Yeah, I felt like a real shithead. You might have edit that out, I'm not sure, but I felt like a real shithead for not wanting this guy in the same group. And it really bothered me for a time. So that's when I reached out and decided to change it.
Yeah, no, it told me a lot about the man that you were, but also the man that you had become. And it was a cool thing because I also think it came out of the spirit of generosity, which our friend Ari Weinswick talks about a lot, right? Of it being during COVID, it being during a tough time where everyone needed help. And it was a period of time where you were like, all right, everybody needs help right now. And you didn't want to take that away from him, which I really respected and appreciated. And the cool thing is you're both doing great. And you're in different towns now, but I think you're in the same town at that moment. You're in different towns now, and I think it's farther away, so it's better. It's even better now. But I've seen both of you in such a short distance apart have massive success at the same time. So the abundance mindset is a real thing, and you have it. Marty, if someone was on the fence about joining SPF, what would you tell them?
I don't know what I'd tell them, but I would certainly ask them, what's holding you back? Are things so good for you that you don't need help? Because honestly, even things are going very well for us right now, but I would never think about going it alone, no matter what stage of my business I'm in. We've learned that challenges, these setbacks, are just a natural part of business. But if you have someone in your corner, someone who's been through those lows and highs before, and someone who's made mistakes before, and someone who's weathered the storm of the fire and COVID and all the other things, I would say there's no reason to go it alone. The investment that you make in yourself and in your business, you'll get that back exponential and then some. I've known some people who have been in business for years and never got the help, and they continue to struggle. And there's no reason for it. Like, there's help. And as someone who's been in another mastermind before, I could tell that person that I've only been in two, and this one is far superior to the one I was in before. I'm in it for the long haul.
Marty, you're one of our biggest successes, and there's a lot of people that have joined SPF. I can't say a lot, but there are people that have joined SPF that didn't have success. What are the things that you did as a member of the group? Because it's not, you weren't successful only because of us. You were successful because of you. What were the things that you did that made this investment where you got a return on the investment?
Number one, I try to make sure that my mind is right. That's number one. Number two is to take action on things, because for many years I was sold. I would just out of the word and everything. I would read stuff. I would listen to podcasts and watch videos. But I was real slow to take action. So the thing, sometimes the information comes out as like a fire, like the water out of a fire hose. And there's just so much. So I've learned to take the things that are applicable to where I'm at in the business at the time and slowly work those things in and develop systems over the years where the steps are easily repeated. Particularly, we talked about the marketing calendar before, is just knowing that every year we're doing X amount of challenges. Every year we're doing a Black Friday special. Or every year we're doing the same events every month. So consistency, which we talked about before, that's real important. So being consistent with the action steps that I take. And something else I learned from you is to try to spend most of my time working on getting clients and keeping clients. And that's really the big takeaway from this.
Yeah, I think that's a big point right there. I think a lot of people spend time on stuff that doesn't matter. I call it this thing called fake work, right? And if you just looked at your time that you're spending and asked yourself, is this thing that I'm doing right now helping me get a new customer or keep a customer that I've got? You're probably in the right place. So that's a really well said. Marty, I want to thank you for getting on here with me. This was a great interview. I'm so proud of how far that you've come, and with Kim and the rest of your squad, I got the opportunity to see your business in action not that long ago, where I walked into a bustling session with Marty, not training the session, but back in the office doing, I don't know what you were working on. You were working on something, and had a cut. He can only meet with me for a few minutes because he had a client coming in to do a consultation and get a new customer. And so there was things happening and things bustling. So this is real people with real success. And man, really, really happy that you did this. And thank you for sharing your story.
My pleasure, Brett. In fact, you on your team for helping us get to where we are.
Awesome, brother.